Hello, everyone. Welcome back. We've got visual effects, we've got banners, we've got explosions, and we have Mr. Swagglehaus in the building. How are you today, sir?
Yeah, I'm good, man. That was quite the intro right there. You know, the production is stepping up in comic collecting YouTube land, I guess.
Yeah. I
Um,
can't take credit. Our friend MJ Comics has become, I've become fast friends with him, and your boy is like making me thumbnails, he's making me intros. So you got to show some love to MJ Comics if you haven't already. But the star of the show today is our friend Mickey, Swagglehaus. Dude, I've talked a lot of smack with you in the past, and you've never addressed any of it. What's the deal, man?
yeah, we've never talked before. This is the first time that we've met, and I've definitely caught some of the videos and the ones that you've taken some shots at me, and people have been quick to share clips and things like that. Uh, you know, why do I not engage is because what are we going to do? Like roll around in the mud? It's like for me, it's just not something that I try to concern myself with, and get too involved in like if I feel like it's the negativity or the drama and stuff because YouTube is just one part of my life. I don't actually want it to like affect my life outside of YouTube. So I try not to get too much into it, but you know,
I definitely respect that, man. You have taken the high road. I've poked every bear in the comic book community, and you were one of those bears that doesn't poke back. So
well,
respect.
let this be known that the first time that you DM me on Instagram and said, "Hey, would you come on a live?" That was when I responded to you, and that was when I was like, "Hey, you know what? He's reaching out to me. Apparently he has some beef or has taken some shots. I don't know why. We've never talked, but the one time when you actually asked, it was like, okay, cool. Like we can talk."
Well, it is very. This is something that I really have wanted to do. I've taken, shots at Jim Mint. I got on live with Jim Mint. I've taken shots at Comic Tom. We're talking to Comic Tom right now. I didn't take any shots at MJ Comics. We've gone live with MJ Comics, but you specifically and another channel, I really wanted to talk to you, hash this out, pick your brain. I know a lot of people have been critical as far as, it's just two comic book YouTube guys talking more, just fluffing each other up. That's not what I want to talk about today. The first thing I want to talk about is perception, and perception is everything. I think some of the most successful comic book YouTube channels, they are perceived very well. They're perceived as influential. They're perceived as positive. How do you think people perceive Swag?
It's a good question. I think that there are people that have different perceptions of me. I think the people who watch me quite a bit or kind of understand what I'm getting at is that they know that I'm somebody who is just sort of trying to put a voice and a context to kind of the comic collecting world and trying to do my best to sort of share my own kind of collecting journey and experience and have that be distilled through like whatever is going on in the community or the business of comic books or just like the hobby itself. I think some people might view my channel as like a pure sort of speculation channel.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, this guy, all he talks about is comic books going up and down in value. All he cares about is basically day trading key comic books. And I think that that's a misconception. I think that that just sort of tells me that they, one, maybe are just reacting to a thumbnail and kind of
Yes.
making up their own mind and conclusion about like what the content is about. Or two, they hear me, but they don't listen. So I think that there's a difference in what people take away. But at the end of the day, like I can't really control like what people think. I just have to be like myself, and I just have to be, somebody who wants to promote a good, positive vibe in the community, and ultimately just give people value, for watching my YouTube channel. And that's all I can control. So I'm just hoping that people, take it at that.
So there are a lot of similarities between us, in my opinion. And I know you probably disagree with that, but um, I think that a lot of the things that we cover has been very similar. The CGC scandals, uh, you know, people acting bad in the community, and basically people think that I am oh yeah, C2E2, thank you. Basically people think I'm a drama channel. Are you a drama channel?
Uh, it depends on what you think is drama. Because I've heard people say that, oh, you're a drama channel. And to me, I don't think covering issues going on at CGC is drama per se. I mean, it depends on your definition. If you think
Right.
that that is drama, then I can't convince you otherwise. If you think that it's not drama, then, or I'm personally someone that doesn't necessarily think that that's drama. I think that that is like current affairs, essentially. Um, some people say that, arguing first appearances in comic books is drama. That's another one that I kind of don't equate as drama. For me, my own kind of personal line of what drama is when you kind of talk about specific individuals. And I may not be perfect at this, but that's usually what I try to do. I think the one difference with, say, how you might cover something versus how I might cover something is I'll try to talk about the event or the idea. I think,
You're nailing it. Like you talk about the big bads, the CGC mess up. You're never targeting one individual. Like one example of something I think you covered is the Sigillus Asheville comics. Do you remember this?
which was that
Bronze
one? No.
Age Bronze Age Nerd covered this a good bit. This is the one where the guy was like taking all these pre-orders for CGC pre-screen 9.8s, and then he never gave these things back to people. Did you cover this one?
Yes, I think, yeah, I don't know if I made a specific video on that one, but I might have lumped it in with like, because I think it was around the same time as the hero restoration one, and I kind of
Yes.
talked about the concept of not delivering to your customers essentially as a business.
Yeah. So like, yeah. So you turned it into a concept as opposed to an attack, not an attack, but a target against a single individual. And that is completely opposite of what I do. I am going, I'm kind of going toe to toe with people, or trying to get a rise out of somebody, or basically talk about other comic book YouTubers. Because I think the comic book YouTube world is very, there's there's not a me, like there's no villain, there's no like troll guy. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, holy shit, like that's that could be a niche. Like, because I think so many guys take themselves so seriously. And some of my influences are, very Gary, Jim Mint, Comic Tom, obviously. Those guys, when they're making videos, they are very, non-confrontational videos. They're very serious videos. And I think you fall into that same trope as well, wouldn't you say?
I think it depends. I mean, I feel like I've kind of done videos that are a little more like contentious or giving my opinion. I think there's different tones, right? Like the different types of videos create like sort of different atmospheres that to me, I feel like are more or less appropriate to put in my own opinion. For instance, like if we're on the stream right now, like we can just whatever talk about, events and kind of just be a little more off the cuff. If it's like, hey, I have to talk about CGC, here's the thing that's going on with them. I kind of see it as more of like, oh, it's my job to kind of like get the story and give people the information. And then there are times where I like will just sort of film myself and just be like, hey, this is me. Like I went on a hike and I filmed myself talking
Dude,
on a hike.
all
And
right.
and and in that instance, it's like, hey, I can be like, this is like the right setting to actually express my opinion. So it's not that I don't want to go those places. It's just like I think that there's different shows or different times that are appropriate to like talk about, different types of things.
Interesting you brought that up, and this is a perfect time to talk about this video, is because this is the video I just watched of you. And the reason I wanted to bring this up is you have talked to a lot. Some of your most successful videos have been you talking about comic book dealers, specifically you going to conventions and basically interviewing these people. So my take has been very negative, which a lot of my takes are very negative on comic book dealers. But I thought you were like one of these guys who kiss the dealers' butts, for no better way to say it. I thought that that's what you were doing. But then I watched your nature hike video and I was like, no, you basically said that some dealer sold some 6-figure book, and I'm paraphrasing here, to another dealer instead of some collector. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And then you kind of were like, what the hell, man? Like, yeah, you got yours, you got your 6-figure lump sum or whatever, and that made your con, but you just exacerbated the problem. You're not getting the book into the hands of the collectors. And then I was like, holy crap, this guy is actually kind of seeing through the comic book dealer BS. And I was like, hold on a minute, I think I might like Swag a little bit here.
Well, yeah, I think that if your thought is that when I talk to dealers and I interview them, it's sort of like purely just like I'm here to kind of promote them, as everyone here is like completely reputable. You have to buy for them or whatever. That's not really it. To me, I'm just sort of asking them questions and getting their thoughts. And I sort of have trust and believe that like my audience or the people that watch it, like I think that people for the most part are smart and they can like discern what pieces the dealers say that they like and what they don't like or they think is bullshit or whatever. And I think that they can weed through that. So again, it's sort of how I view it, where it's like this is just me getting information from them and I'm just kind of sharing it with you guys, and it's up to you guys to kind of decide like what you like out of this or what you take away from it. And yeah, there will be other times, like not just the hike one, but in prior times I've done videos where they were a little more candid and I just kind of gave my recap on them or talked about it. And yeah, I just think that, so with your videos, it's interesting because I think I've heard one of your videos where you've kind of called out dealers and stuff.
Yes.
The reason I think I saw it is because I think you actually lumped me in to your montage of it, which I felt like, well, you're kind of lumping me in with like a bunch of other dealers that I don't really feel like I fit that same sort of bucket. But I understood your point, because I do think that there are people who are carnival barkers in this industry, and I think that where you have some of those takeaways, like, hey, this person might not be the most scrupulous dealer, and they're just trying to pump up books. Like, I think that does happen, but for me, it's not really about kind of calling out individual dealers. It's sort of like letting their words speak for themselves and kind of letting people decide who they think is kind of moral in the hobby versus not. And I'll kind of weigh in and give my opinions. And generally speaking, I'll talk more like the idea of like what you have to look out for and why pricing guides are so important, so that you know what the actual fair market values are and all these types of things, so that you can be educated when you actually go up to one of these guys at a show.
So I think maybe you might be referring to, when I lumped you in, is I thought you were some sort of dealer yourself. And I think what I did that was where you're selling your comic book. So like, I've been very critical of certain channels because of their exclusive retailer variants, specifically YouTube channels that sell to their audience. Now, I know you've done some live sales before, as have I, to your YouTube audience. And then I was kind of critical of you selling your comic book to your audience. But I took a step back and I was like, well, wait a minute. He wrote the comic book. He created the comic book. It's a passion project to his community. Why wouldn't they be interested in it? So I think that was unfair to lump you in as somebody that is like I'm going to drop names. I don't want to lump you into like a Bry's Comics situation. Are you familiar with Bry's Comics?
Yeah.
Okay, so like he is somebody who is a dealer. He is somebody who is a content creator. He is somebody that is showing things, collections that he buys, and then he is selling those things to his audience. You are somebody who is a comic book creator that is now selling your comic to your subscribers, your viewers. And I don't necessarily think that that is a terrible thing, but it is a thing.
Yeah.
Can
No, I think that, so it's funny that you brought that one up because, you know, I've definitely, in watching some of your videos, I've gotten a couple laughs here and there. I think some of the other things that you've done is maybe, you know, a little bit in bad faith. But I would say of all the times that you've poked fun of me, that was one when you kind of called out my Kickstarter comic book. I was like a little bit annoyed by that because to your point, I think that there's a difference. You know, I understand like the idea of people pumping and dumping comic books and selling to their audience. I think there is a conversation to be had there for sure. Shout out to the
Yeah, I got to do the super chat real quick.
yeah,
DJ Links, DJ Links. I got to have some kind of like press button thing. Sticker People. He is the crowned prince of the Sticker People, not the king, not the king of the Sticker People. Are you aware of the Sticker People, Swag?
you know, I didn't see your Sticker People thing. I heard it. I heard it through other
Okay.
people, through live streams. But you know, hey, you know, with this topic, you know, you might be somebody soon on your way to making stickers. You know,
Dude,
and selling it to your audience. So that'll be something that you'll have to kind of parse through for yourself. Like,
right?
where's mine here?
Jim Mint accused me of becoming everything that I once hated. So, wow, like that's
Well, I think so. Just to put a bow on that one, you know, talking point where it's like people selling to their audience. I think that there's a difference where if you're trying to sell a product that is telling the audience like, hey, you're going to get rich buying this thing,
yes.
or this is going to change your life. That's one thing versus like if I write a comic book or hell, if one day, you know, Sticky, you make a Sticky retail exclusive,
Right.
like there's nothing wrong with you making a product and being like, hey guys, I worked on this. I'm proud of it. And if you think it's cool, you want to buy it, like that would be awesome. Like
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with that. Now, if you're telling people like, hey, there's only 5 of these and you know, they're going to be worth $10,000, you know, then that,
Right.
yeah, that gets into like some, you know, kind of issues, you know, with being sort of an influencer. And I think that I don't always get it right, but I'm very aware of the differences in that. And I try to do the one that I think is moral.
Yeah, you're making a piece of content in a physical comic book that is meant for collecting, but in no way, shape, or form are you like, this is like a collectible. You know what I mean? Like this is something that, you know, you're supporting me, you're supporting the written word, which you and I are very much on the same page. We like physical collectible things. That's why we're doing this. So respect. I still think that the people that are doing these exclusive retailer variant, I honestly can say that I don't feel like in good faith I could ever go through with that because, you know, destroying comic books, making artificial scarcity, artificial rarity, I don't agree with that. And I don't think that that is what a true collectible is. The stuff on your back wall, that's rare. That's scarce. That's a real collectible. That is something that is hard to find because it's old as crap. Like that's real.
Yeah.
I mean, can we agree on that?
I agree. I do agree. Like here's the thing. At least for the time being, I mean, you know, I won't dig my, you know, heels in the sand. I don't buy retail exclusive variants, so I have no interest in like making them. And I kind of agree with you. Like I think that there's a lot of them that are kind of a little bit of a grift, like to be honest. But I
Yes.
do think that I've thought about it a lot, and there has to be a line where it's okay to make a product, and there has to be it has to also be okay that people entering the comic space that are trying to create I think is a positive thing.
Yes.
I talk a lot about vintage, in my channel, and one of the things I don't like is, every now and again I'll cover like, okay, like whatever, this new variant came out, and I'll do the video and be like, look at all the sales on eBay, and I always say like, run the Benny Hill music. And in the comments it'll always be, these people are so dumb, they should be buying Silver Age and Golden Age, blah blah blah, and all this stuff. And
Mhm.
I understand that, but at the same time, I think that some of the vintage collectors also index too heavily on like the idea that, it's good to have new stuff be successful in the comic hobby, and it's good for people to create, because you got to keep the hobby alive. You got to keep the industry alive. No one's going to discover the vintage comic books unless they're brought in through new products. So
And you
I
really
wish,
you
yeah,
talk,
go back and forth.
you talked about vintage a lot in this hike video, and to be honest, that hike video was one of my favorites. And I think you're somebody that very much realizes that there's many sides to every story. You're seeing it from the lens of, the vintage comics got to sell, but we got to get new people in here. We can't just ostracize the people that want the new stuff. We can't just ostracize the people that want the vintage. You see a little bit of everything, but I also see you as somebody, as a content creator, that you want to kind of spread your web a little wide. And the reason I bring that up is you were talking about Haktua. I know this is a little deep of a cut, but like, Mickey, are you somebody that, sometimes in a video, and sometimes in your videos, do you wish you just didn't want to talk about comic books?
Um, I would say no. I love comic books. I love talking about it. I will say that sometimes I would like to talk a little bit more about pop culture in general.
Yes.
Um, a lot of people have always said like, well, why don't you do like a Deadpool and Wolverine review or something? And it's like, part of me is like, yeah, I would like to do that because I have thoughts on the film. I work in film and entertainment and the film industry, so it's like I have kind of a perspective on it that I feel like might be interesting to share. But at the same time, it's
Like the adult film
sometimes.
industry?
What's that?
Is it the adult film industry?
No,
It's not.
Sadly. Yeah, unfortunately. But yeah, it's the one that doesn't pay nearly as well as the other. But I think it would be cool to do stuff like that. But you're the audience. You have to work at that. You have to like. I think you probably have had this experience where it's like you'll try a different type of content piece, and you'll be like, okay, it doesn't perform well, but you got to water the plant. You have to do it after a bunch of times, and eventually it can grow.
Yeah, to make a Wolverine versus Deadpool review, you're basically saying, okay, I'm gonna put this effort in. I'm gonna make this video, and nobody's gonna give a shit, because let's just face facts. You and I are not the channels that people are going to for the Wolverine versus Deadpool review. Would you agree?
Oh, of course not. Yeah.
Like, that's not who we are. So like, anytime we venture out, and I remember another video you did, it was about AI, chat GPT, stuff like that. You're trying to catch the zeitgeist. Like when Haktua was, you have to spit on that thing. Like that was like, you were like, I'm gonna put this in the thumbnail. I'm gonna put this in the title. I'm gonna try to get a click out of somebody because this is a thing. Regardless of whether, because there's people that are going to click a Swagglehaus video no matter what. They are your ride or dies. You've probably got 4,000 or 5,000 of those people relatively that are like, okay, if a Swagglehaus video going live, I'm clicking it. But then you like, okay, well, I put Haktua on there, and then it's like, I get a little bit more people in here. It's just, I see you as a guy who, and correct me if I'm wrong, is you're making a personality. Are you trying to become famous with this? Are you trying to become a YouTube personality? Is that your goal?
No, it's not. I work I'm a writer and I'm a director. I wrote my comic book. I write screenplays. That's always my dream. That's my career, and that's ultimately where I want to go with it. I find that YouTube is like an amazing place to connect with people, and I've been able to do stuff on YouTube where I've met people that like now like work in film and all this stuff. So there's a lot of exciting stuff. Like, but as far as like being PewDiePie or somebody like that. Like, no, I wouldn't want that.
You sure?
Well, like it would be nice to make a lot of money, like doing that, of course, but like, I don't know if that's, I like creating and I have a creative spirit, at least that's how I feel. And I don't know if I get the same fulfillment out of like always just doing kind of videos in my room as opposed to like the other sort of creative projects that I've like worked on. So I could do it if it was like, oh yeah, this is like enough income to like be a career. But at the same time, like I still have those other aspirations.
Right.
But the one thing I'll say is like, yes, I do think it's good to like when cultural things happen to like dip your toes into other areas and incorporate Hawk 2 or whatever it is. But I also think too, it's like sometimes it's just fun to be present with the people who watch.
Right.
It's like, because I know that they know that Hawk 2 is going on. So it's kind of fun to like incorporate it. But yeah, that's sort of my answer. What about you? I feel like,
Bro,
it's interesting.
If I could quit my job tomorrow and do this shit, I'm quitting it, bro.
Yeah,
And
I see that from you.
You are so political. Like when I'm talking to you right now, like I feel like I'm talking to like the CEO of freaking MGM or some shit. Like,
well, let me just say, this is exactly how I am. I've had people tell me like, you're really formal.
Very.
And I am formal. Like it is absolutely my personality. I mean, obviously when I jump up and down talking about comic books and stuff, like that's one part of it, but yeah, it's just kind of how I am. But so to that point then, because I can see that, like I can see you're kind of diving your toes into YouTube, and I think that you've definitely found your voice, and I think that you kind of understand what's working for you. My question to you is, so why comic books though? Like you should be covering like Mr. Beast drama and stuff like that.
Right.
If those are your goals.
So let me do this right here. This is a great time to segue into this. So we did a roast video of 43 comic book YouTube channels, and you were the second channel we listed. So your question as to, why am I not covering Mr. Beast? Why am I not, I just spent $100,000 to make it rain. Like, well, first off, I don't have $100,000 to do that. Second, it's already been done. I like nerd stuff. I like video games. I like comic books. I like statues. I like everything nerd. And this is what I feel most comfortable doing. Comic books became something that I loved, and I developed a passion for it, and I developed an audience. Like, this maturation of Sticky Goose has transpired completely on YouTube as to my comic book collecting, and what my niche has become. Basically, look at all the dumb shit that I've done. Don't do this dumb shit. Be better. And basically, it's failure content. It's content that it's like, oh, how did Sticky Goose fuck up this time? Like, it's basically that. And then people are like, it's either, yeah, I hate Sticky Goose, I hope he loses money, or damn, what happened to Sticky? How can I not fuck up like Sticky fucked up? Like, basically, that's my viewers. So to answer your question, I mean, if there was a route for me to become YouTube famous, I would do it. But I want that route to be comic books. But unfortunately, it's not going to happen.
Right. Do you think that you could expand? Well, I guess you kind of answered the question as far as like, it starts with your interests, right? You have to sort of be into it, and comic books is one of that thing. But
yeah, because like
I don't know, is there statue drama or like sports car drama and things like that? Well,
so the drama really comes from personalities, because I think a lot of the smaller channels, like, and I refer to them as sticker people, and it's, it's, I don't know, it can be taken derogatory or not, but basically these are people that don't get it. What you get is that you realize that people are watching you because you have charisma, you have intelligence, you have enthusiasm, you have passion, you have respect for your audience. You have all of these things that say, hey, viewer, you should be watching me. I'm not here. I'm not wasting your time. When you watch a Swagglehaus video, you're getting your money's worth. You click through that ad, you sat through your 18 to 24-minute video, whatever it is, and you actually got something out of it. The viewer benefited. And that's why you're successful. And I think so many people don't realize that this is a personality game. It's kind of like going to your doctor. Like, if your doctor is like an asshole, but he's like the most thorough asshole ever, and he's like, hey, let me check your prostate, and he does a great job, you don't give a shit if he's an asshole. But if you go to your doctor and he's like your friend, and he's like, we missed that on your prostate, it's not looking good, it's like you still go back to that doctor. It's like, it's kind of that same thing where, I keep going back to Swagglehaus because, well, he's not right about every little thing, but he's a nice guy. He's consistent. He's professional. I get something out of it. And basically, long story short, is just I think that's why you're doing well.
Well, thank you. I mean, I think people look for value, whatever that means. So charisma can be one part of it, or like a guy that I feel like he kind of comes off like a friend, because I watch people too. It's like I've never met them. I watch YouTube, and I'm like, oh, like I like that he's just is kind of like a dude in his room, and he's super casual and stuff. Or like they're entertained, or they like when people call out comic book dealers. People get different types of value out of it, and really that's just like the umbrella word. So like whatever that is what people are looking for, and so that's always just kind of like what I focus on. Like I just try to focus on like, what do people want to hear out of this?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And you're exactly right. I think a lot of creators are doing what they want all the time, and it's really about the viewer. They don't respect the viewer. So like, let me get back to this stupid roast again. So when we roasted your ass and we roasted everybody else in the comic book community, let me see this here. And then, okay, let me find it again. Okay. Did you get triggered by this, Swag?
I didn't get to see it.
You haven't seen it?
No, because it got taken down. Like by the time like it came out, like I didn't see it. So
can I play your part for you? Maybe just a little?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
All in good fun.
Oh. Why'd you do almost immediately? This is
I know him. Snickle Fritz.
Swagglehaus. Oh no! Every single day trying to sell comics.
He's knee deep in dollar bin books, and he's trying to get out from behind Sticky Goose. His is like,
he probably has a perfectly good reason too.
Maybe he lives on Swaggle Street.
Why does the back, like that sculpture in the back, look like the pyloric sphincter? Like this is where like the separation of like your duodenum and your jejunum for your digestion.
That's indication of there's a woman in the house.
Is that a woman?
That's a woman thing.
But then why is there no other decorations on that?
That's a woman thing.
Okay.
It's about minimalism and artistic vision.
So you think Swagglehaus is about minimalism and artistic vision? Swaggle, are you about minimalism and artistic vision?
Minimalism and artistic vision? Yeah, maybe. I don't know if that's my MO, but I have a good reason for why the background looked like that. I recently moved, and that was my house when it was staged, and I was doing a lot of faceless camera videos for a long time because I didn't have a background. And then like that was, the staging, and then I was like, I wanted to show some books that I picked up. So that was the one that I just happened to have no background.
Okay. Like, let's continue.
That, or there's a lady in the house and she's controlling what's occurring behind the scenes.
I think there is.
He needs a comic book right there, like where the succulent plant is. There needs to be like a little
succulent plant.
There needs to be like a little tiny what are those little things called? I buy you the pop up.
A pop? You want to put a Funko Pop next to the
Funko Pop
next to the succulent?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Just like a little Groot.
A little Groot. Okay. Well, that was all we did on you, dude. I mean, talk about weak.
Yeah, you didn't let me really have it.
No, I didn't let you have it. We let you off easy, bro.
What's your whole feeling with the fallout of that and getting flagged? And you know,
Dude.
I've heard all the kind of the stories and all that of what happened.
It was
What's your feeling on
it
it
was
now?
ridiculous, bro. It was, and as somebody that, you know, if you get 3 strikes, it's over. I mean, and the guy basically abused the copyright system. I call him the rat. The rat basically figured out a loophole where he flagged it as a copyright strike because he knew that 3 strikes you're out. And, you know, he got the video taken down, and it was a very successful video. Like, I think it was 7,000 views, which is very good for my channel. And
I mean, you're crushed. You get like tens of thousands on a lot of videos.
some of my videos do very well, and
Yeah.
I think some of them don't. You are much more consistent. Well, that just, I mean, because
I
when
think it's
you,
because the thumbnail, the thumbnail does a lot. Where
Yeah.
it's like it's my face is on the thumbnail. So if you're like, who's this fucking guy? Like you're just not gonna click it. But if it's like sometimes you'll have like you're at a con or whatever, right? So it's like this is like a bigger audience that might watch something like this.
yeah, it was crazy. Do I regret doing it? I don't know. Dude, I was like, literally every single comic book channel was talking about me, and it was, you know, I can't imagine being like a Jim Mint or a Comic Tom where it's like every single day somebody's got their name, you know, their name in their mouth. Like, that's a lot of heat. That's a lot of smoke. And you know, I'm somebody that stirs the pot, and it was a lot of smoke for me, dude. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
And
Well, so that's interesting because yeah, like it's one thing I think to like call out somebody and then it happens very fast that all of a sudden it's like, man, like this Sticky Goose guy, like I was watching him and now he's not the same anymore. He changed. And it's like, no, I'm the same guy. But like all of a sudden people will start to call you out. And if you have a sticker or you have a t-shirt, or, you know, those types of things, you might become that guy
right.
that people are calling out. Well, let me ask you this though, with that video, because I get it. Like I would never flag somebody who used me or whatever, like parodied me, or, you know, I've been on other people's thumbnails, not just yours and stuff, but like, it's fine. Like people can say what they will. I'm not going to be able to control that. But like, if you call out 40 YouTubers, I mean, what do you think is going to happen? Dude? Like it's on the table. You know what I mean? Like this is kind of like the, you know, the fuck around and find out kind of thing, you know? So it's like, yeah, like I wouldn't flag it, but like, dude, someone's going to.
It could have gone 2 different ways. That could have been the end for your boy Sticky Goose. Like it could have been like a unified, like, F this guy, we got to cancel this guy, he's over. But you know what happened? It is so wanted by this community. There is a desire for poking fun at the other creators, because I mean, I don't know if you watch like Kill Tony or like the roasts and stuff like of Tom Brady. Dude, people want this. And especially like a guy like you who, you know, somebody tunes into you every single day, man. You know, somebody like you're their favorite YouTuber, and like to somebody to take a shot, that's kind of like somebody taking a shot at Tom Brady, where it's like, okay, well, what's he going to say? And he better not hurt my feelings. But part of you wants to have that morbid curiosity of like, damn, like what are they going to say about my boy?
Yeah. Well, I think that, well, this is the thing. It's like people get into comic YouTube for different reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think that's, with the comedian thing, like I totally get it. I totally get the roast aspect into it, but like that is comedy. Like that's the genre of the space that they're in. Like comic collecting doesn't necessarily have roasts as like on the menu. You know, I think it's something that's a little bit like invented.
Meat's back on the menu,
you know?
boys.
There's definitely like busting each other's, you know, balls and stuff like on
right.
Like that exists obviously within, you know, comic shops and stuff. But yeah, I think it's just because, you know, people get into this for different reasons, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and some people are happy with their like, hey, we get on our lives and we're just hanging out with like the friends and it's just 2 people watching, and that's great. Like, so I think that those people are just a little maybe taken aback when they end up.
Well, and I think there's another thing here is I think we need to realize, I'm going to ask, how old are you, if you mind me asking?
I'm 41.
41. So I'm 34. Talk to Jim Mint. He's 40. MJ Comics 37. Comic Tom probably 30s, early 40s. Do you realize that all the creators are this age, and that most of the viewers are 50, 40 plus, 50 plus, 60 plus? And I don't know if you look at demographics like that, but like, I have to assume that your demographic is very, very similar to mine, in that a lot of these guys are coming to comic book content not for the kind of shit that I'm spewing, the drama, the roasts, the stuff. They're coming to learn about vintage comic books, where, what's the deal with this, and especially the money aspect of it. So you're nailing it, where people want different things. But I think a huge portion of viewers and the community are invested in the comic book YouTube community specifically, because they're either creators, they have a channel that's got 2 people watching, or there's somebody that's got 1,000 subs, or there's somebody that's got 100,000. Like those people are watching, and I think they're invested because they're part of the YouTube community. Wouldn't you say?
Well, I think that that's just kind of like yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think that that's just a human thing. Like, we're all looking for connection and community in our own ways. And, if 2 people start fighting in our high school class, everyone cares about what's going on over there. So I think that there are people that, are sort of invested in it.
I want to read this comment right here. This is GT Key Comic. I think you said he was your first person in your chat the other day. He's always first. People tune in to see your drama, roasts, and parodies, me included. We don't want to hear your opinions on Alan Moore's writing. No offense. Stick to controversy. I think that's me in a nutshell. I just put out a video yesterday talking about my favorite comic books that I've read, my favorite comic books I collect. Guess what? Nobody gives a shit. There is a contingent of my viewers that are just like you, that they're going to watch whatever it is you put out because they support you, they like you. But dude, all of my viewers that I have built, and there's a lot of them, they just want the drama. They want the pain.
Well, I think you cultivate.
I know. I reap what I sow.
Because you can, like, the biggest YouTube channel there is probably like Comics Explained, right?
Right.
Like Comics Explained, he just tells you, here's the stories, and it's kind of pan and scan across pictures and stuff. And it's like, if we're including that in comic book YouTube, like, technically that's what most people want, but I think you cultivate the audience, depending on what you do and the type of content.
You're absolutely right. And I'm glad you brought that up, is because I'm going to bring up another video where I had some things to say and about you. Let me bring it up. I suck at this live. Bear with me. I reap what I sow. Here we go. Okay. So this is when I did a little parody of this is Snickle Fritz Comics. Have you heard of this channel?
No, but he has a striking similarity to another YouTube channel that I like.
Okay. So do you see maybe the little goatee there on the chinny chin chin?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you see the whiteboard that is just, very, very well put together?
Yeah. Striking resemblance here.
Okay. So this is Snickle Fritz Comics. And basically what he did was he described the index fund and the leverage and, overspending. Basically what happened with this video was I shot my shot at the swag, and I got a significant amount of backlash. So what happened was, lost a bunch of subscribers, because all those people that are like ride or die swag, they're like, nah, you can't talk about my boy like that. Because what ended up I drew was, it was
phallic,
a thing.
Phallic symbol.
Yeah, phallic symbol. Thank you. My last live actually got demonetized. So I'm really trying to watch what I'm saying.
Oh, I'm sorry if I curse. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. It's cool. I think it's because I brought up like certain things that happened in 2020 and stuff. But anyway, what was I saying? Oh, yeah. So like I shot my shot at you. I lost subscribers. Basically, what you just said, I curated my audience where I lost people that were not interested in that, were pro you. And then I gained people that want that type of debauchery where it's like, I'm making fun of somebody else. I'm being the bully. I'm picking on somebody. And then slowly but surely I put another one on the stack. I put another one on the stack. And all of a sudden I look back 2 years later and it's like, holy shit, I got 200 videos of talking shit. And now all my viewers want to hear me talking some shit, which it's okay. But like, I can only talk so much shit.
Well, can I ask you that? Like, so are you? Do you feel good about some of the content and the videos and like the audience you've cultivated in a lot of ways, or like are you kind of have like qualms about some of it?
So, man, that's a great question, dude. I feel like I'm on the swag show a little bit here. No, but it's like I talked about this with Jim Mint. I was like, after I got off the live with him, I felt good about it. Like it was on his channel specifically. Like it felt clean. It felt pure. It felt like good old wholesome fun. It's kind of like how I'm probably going to feel when I get off of this with you. There's some videos I make and I'm like, damn, how's this going to go? And the roast was one of them. But dude, it's addicting. It's like that feeling of like, oh my God, how is this going to be received? Because dude, more than anybody, it's like when you put something out there, you tried hard on it and it's like, oh my God, how is this going to be received? And then it was received extremely well. Dude, that's like the best feeling in the world, right?
Yeah. Well, you definitely want people to like your stuff, but let me say this. So I think that something that's kind of equivalent for me is like I've done a lot of videos covering like CGC or like them introducing 9.9s and things like that. And I can definitely feel like the heightened emotions a lot of times, like within the comment section. And sometimes I think it's important to not sort of fan certain flames unnecessarily. If CGC messes up, we have something to talk about, then absolutely we got to talk about it, But I know that if I wanted to, I could make a facepalm CGC going done it again type of video that points out every single Bengate or whatever situation. And that will get a lot of views, more than like, hey, here's 10 covers that I recently picked up. Like, but I just have to actively make sure that I feel okay with that. And so sometimes I will be like, nah, it's not worth covering this thing because I do think that this is just, I've already talked about it. Like we don't need to add fuel to this fire. So I guess I say that to say this, which is like, I think maybe if you're getting in that place where you're roasting people and doing the drama stuff, it's like, it's one thing to like, be like, okay, yeah, we took a shot and that's fun. But then if you keep doing it, it starts to manifest into ways that maybe you don't feel great about.
Okay. I'm subscribing to you right now, dude. But I wanted to, I feel like this is as good a place as any as you were talking about. Did you delete videos?
I never deleted videos. I had gaming content.
Originally. Board games.
Yeah, games.
Mansions of Madness or something.
Oh yeah. I love board games.
I love them too.
Yeah. And so I had made some of that stuff, but that was like years earlier, before I like did YouTube. So once I got to a certain point, I was like, okay, like I think like I can probably unlist this stuff because it doesn't fit within, I guess, what my channel had become. That's kind of what it is.
So I look back and I was like, when I was doing the prep for this, because I wanted to see what the start of Swagglehaus was. I'm always interested, especially with people that are very successful like yourself. How did it start? Because, and I watched some of your early videos, your voice now compared to then, just how much more confident you are, how much, when you say something, you mean it, it hits different. And, you can kind of hear that, that waver in your voice of, am I saying the right things? Am I coming off the right way? Am I making a good video? And dude, it took me 200 some videos to find that. You found yours much, much quicker. So kudos. But it was just interesting because I was looking back and I was like, damn, he deleted some videos, specifically one big one, which was kind of your foot in the door video. And it was about comic books, wasn't it?
I don't think I've deleted any comic book ones. No.
Okay. Well, it was something, it didn't look like the rest of your thumbnails, and maybe I'm misremembering. Anyway, doesn't matter.
It was definitely there was definitely some board game ones.
Yeah.
And maybe there was like a movie review one.
Movie or something. It was MCU.
Yeah, something like that.
So you have always been the spec guy. You from the very beginning, you were the guy, and you even have a title, dude. And I couldn't find it. It said, buy these before it's too late. Do you regret that?
Yeah, I would not do that anymore. For many, many reasons. I think like this is a very interesting topic, actually. One, when I made that video, that was how the comic community actually did behave, where it was like, the point of that was like not to promote like, hey, you guys should buy this because you guys are gonna like all get rich on these videos, on these books. The video was like, hey, here are the movies coming out this year, and here are the comics that kind of relate to those movies. And we always know what happens is, guys, the trailer comes out and then people lose their mind. They buy all these comic books and all that stuff. And I said as much in the video, and that was what actually happened back then. That didn't happen, after a couple of years when everything changed and the macro economy changed and all that. And then on top of that, like that was early in my YouTube where I didn't really think anyone was watching. And frankly, nobody really was watching, early on. And I think there's a difference of like talking about spec when you don't have many viewers and you're like just kind of excited. Like I still get kind of excited to be like, oh, dude, this is a cool book. But there was a time when one time I made like a spec video. This was like 2.5, 3, 4 years. I don't know, 3 years ago. And I had been following this book on eBay. And then I made a spec video because I was interested in this book and I talked about it. And then I noticed like, oh, there was like 15 sales. And that scared the crap out of me because I was like, oh, like I realized that there's numbers here on the screen that show view count, but it at that time it hadn't quite clicked for me yet that, oh, there's people that are actually listening to this. And I need to take this, like, I need to be really responsible here and actually make sure that I'm not talking about things that either one, I can't predict because I can't predict whether a book is going to go up or down. I have no friggin' idea. And then two, just promoting things that shouldn't be unnecessarily promoted, just be presented as they are. So I've definitely eased up on some of those types of contents as my channel has grown.
So as your channel has gotten bigger, you have kind of grown in a sense of, I have more of a responsibility as an influencer, as a larger voice in the community. Hey, I can't be doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Or if I want to talk about comic books, I think the framing of how I talk about it is very, very important. And I think like I do the index videos and things like that. And sometimes I think people who take a look at it, they might get the wrong impression of like what I'm trying to do when I make the video. But I think the framing is very important.
Who influenced you? Like, I mean, when you sat in front of that camera and you became the Swagglehaus in front of us today, like, I wouldn't be here right now if it wasn't for Jim Min. I can't even say that with straight face.
Sure, yeah.
No, it's just like, were you watching comic book YouTube before you started making comic book YouTube?
I was, yeah. I had always been interested in YouTube, and this was during COVID when I started my YouTube channel. And I actually thought like, oh, maybe I'll do like a film YouTube channel. That was kind of my thought. But at that time, I was watching so much comic book YouTube that I was like, oh, this seems kind of fun. Like, I feel like I want to, make some comic book videos and stuff. So that's kind of what started it. But for me, I think I'm similar to maybe people of my time where the first channel I ever discovered in comic YouTube was definitely Comic Tom.
Right.
And also Gem Mint. I was a Gem Mint watcher when he was 30,000 subscribers, I think is when I
Hell
first
yeah,
discovered
dude.
his channel. And shout out to Gem Mint too, because actually he was the first YouTuber that highlighted one of my videos, and that got me
Oh,
inspired because I talked about Marvel cards, and then he shouted me out on that. So that was
yeah, you guys both like that. I've never been into that.
oh, I love Marvel cards, but nobody, it's not that popular. So I only can dump it on my audience like once every 6
Yeah,
months.
yeah, because if you do, you can't be doing Marvel card videos, bro.
Yeah, yeah. But to answer your question, Comic Tom was the first person I discovered, and then after that, I think I found Reggie Collects,
Right.
and then I actually found Journo's Comics, and those were the two channels that I actually think I watched the most, as far as like a fan who was taking in the content and watching that stuff, and those are the people that I like what they were talking about in their approach, and then I kind of maybe molded myself after some of their channels.
You are definitely your own thing now, just as I think I am. I think we've definitely found our voice, which is a very good thing, I think. I mean, I think so many people are just followers or people that just try to repeat the same thing, which in the beginning, that's all you really can do. To be creative in the very beginning is damn near impossible. I mean, you only know what you know. You have no voice, and you're just trying to make your way. And the easiest way to do that is just go down the path that's already been paved.
Yeah. Well, you got to be. I think the authenticity and being yourself,
yeah,
is the main thing. Which actually, to you addressed it earlier with like my older videos, and I still watch myself back and I go like, God damn, like I'm so annoying to listen to.
it's cringy.
I'm just so cringe. Yeah, for sure. But like, you have to like, yeah, you have to get comfortable and find your voice and your style and stuff. And you have to being yourself on camera is actually really difficult. That in and of itself is kind of like a skill that you have to kind of develop. But that's what people want. You have to like sort of find that. And I definitely think that you've definitely found your voice.
I've definitely found something.
Yeah, you found it. And but hey, if that's who you really truly are, I mean, be you.
How much money have you lost in comics, dude? In 2021, did you lose your ass like I did?
I've definitely lost money in certain comic books, but I kind of trade a lot, and I buy and I sell and do things, and really I only buy I mostly buy raw. I know there's graded comic books behind me, but I don't really buy graded comic books too much, and most of the time, and I try to say this too, it's like you're really trying to just take advantage of like arbitrage, which is just to say that like you just got to hunt it in the wild and find it for cheap and get instant equity, and that's really the best way to
the money's been made. Like our parents, I don't know if your parents were comic collectors, but like if my dad was to sell his 12-cent DC comics that he bought for 12 cents, like the money's being made there. Like you and me, we are we're picking at the scraps trying to get something.
It's what the dealers do. If you find a garage sale collection for $20, like you're gonna make a lot of money, with like AF-15s in it and stuff like that. But a little harder to pay top dollar on eBay, for an AF-15.
Do you feel in any way responsible for part of the comic book crash, for your investing videos? And the reason I ask this is because this is kind of a little preview. This is a spoiler. We might be getting Comic Tom on this live. So I really want to ask him, and I want to ask you this because I feel like asking you this compared to him it's night and day. Just the amount of influence he has compared to you, compared to me, it's not even comparable.
Oh yeah,
but
he's the biggest channel for sure.
Do you feel that you are in any way responsible for the overbuying, the collector surge at all?
I definitely have some responsibility, but at the end of the day, like I'm nobody, right? Like I'm just some dude on YouTube talking about comic books, and the billion dollar, vintage marketplace is going to do whatever it wants to do in terms of like prices up and down and stuff like that. But yeah, I have some responsibilities to certain people for sure.
Okay.
I mean,
I
like everyone.
got to say something here, dude.
Yeah.
Went to heroescon this year. Go up to a dealer. He says, hey, are you on YouTube? And I was like, yeah, yeah, I'm on YouTube. He's like, yeah, I watch your videos. You're the guy that talks shit about CGC. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, kind of. Yeah, that's me. And he's like, you're that Swagglehaus guy. And I said, no, I'm Sticky Goose. And he was like, oh yeah, you're him. I felt about that little that day. But you know what I realized? Dude, you're freaking famous, bro. You're famous, dude.
No.
Yes.
I'm just a dude.
You're a dude that's famous.
At very specific times, like a Comic-Con, there might be someone who goes, hey man, I like your videos. That's it.
No.
Just a guy.
This guy was motivated. This guy was like, he was kind of like reaching over his short boxes like, hey, I know you. And I'm like, bro, you don't know me. And he thought I know we got very close.
I know. I was like, what was my hair? Like maybe it looks like I don't have hair right now.
You know what it is? Our names are the most similar names.
It's 3 syllables with an S.
Yeah. And they don't make any sense. They don't belong in, because every comic book channel's name is like Kid Comics or Jim Mint Hunter Comics. And it's like, okay. And then you got Swagglehaus and Sticky Goose. Like it don't make any sense.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, it is kind of that thing where if you put comics on your name, then it's like, well, that's only what you're allowed to talk to. So,
hey, no, that's so basically you and I, we freaking messed up bad, dude. We just put, because I remember, dude, I didn't used to be Sticky Goose Comics. I used to be Sticky Goose Gaming and Collectibles. You know why? Because I wanted to talk about video games. I wanted to talk about my statues. I wanted to talk about Magic the Gathering. I wanted to talk about other shit. Soon as in comic books. And as soon as I put Sticky Goose Comics, dude, I saw a surge of subscribers. I saw a surge of viewership. Were you always Swagglehaus Comics?
No, I was Swagglehaus Comics and Games. So it was like the same thing where it's like, yeah, I was going to talk board games. I was going to do more comic books and that sort of thing. And then eventually it was sort of like, yeah, it's kind of limiting to frame it specifically like that, or it's redundant or it's unnecessary. I just didn't think I needed it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think and we kind of already covered this, but dude, I remember a couple times during the CGC scandals, and I can't remember which one specifically. You came out with this shit so fast. Now I know you've got like an inside man. This 9.9 newsstand guy, he's in here right now.
Oh yeah.
This is the guy that's like the boots on the ground freaking guy. This is MJ's boy. We got MJ backstage if anybody wants to know. He's chilling. He's the one making all these graphics. Shout out MJ Comics. You better sub him up or else. Basically 9.9 newsstand is like the actual journalist. And then we're just like the yuppies that are like repeating what he's saying. The reason I say that is like, dude, the shit broke and you churned out a video so quick. Like you were like, you Fox News that shit. Like I was like, I can't compete with Snickle Fritz. Like Snickle Fritz is turning this out so quick. Dude, you were
Snickle Fritz.
It just sounds funny. Oh. You ever watched freaking what's the stoner movie with Seth Rogen? Not Tropic Thunder. Oh my God. Seth Rogen, James Franco.
Oh, Pineapple Express. Yeah.
Pineapple Express, the strain that they were using was Snickle Fritz. And I thought that was a funny name. And I thought, dude, it's kind of like when people make fun of my name, like Stinky Goose or Stinky Douche, or, it's kind of like, bro, you're making fun of a guy named Sticky Goose. Like he's already done the damage. I kind of feel like when I'm making fun of you, like making fun of the name Swagglehaus, like you've already done the damage. Like there's nothing more, like calling you Snickle Fritz is just, you know what I mean?
All right. Okay. Okay. It was funny. I think there was one time it was one time you made a video.
Oh, here we go. Which one?
It was about Bry's comics
Oh, where I made him a snake in the grass?
or some. No, well, no. I made a video talking about Bry's comic situation. And then I think in your video, you used my video and you
Dude,
were like,
I got the information for that from you.
yeah. So that's why I was like, okay, wait, this guy used my video to get the information to make his video and called me Snickle Fritz. I mean, like, what? That's some disrespect. Like,
no,
I was,
didn't cite you, didn't show any respect,
didn't
just
cite,
steal
didn't
your
reach out.
information.
Mind you, to everyone in the chat, this is literally the first time we ever talked. I mean, that was I think I saw that. I was like, dude, like, what the? It's kind of a dick thing to do.
It's like, fuck this Sticky Goose guy. He's an asshole. No, it was funny. Like, so that's interesting you bring that up because it's like this whole banana gate thing. MJ was he was like, you need to get on this, you need to cover this. I don't want to. Like, part of me was like, I'm tired of it. I've really kind of washed my hands with CGC, and I still got all my freaking CGC books up there. I got a room full of CGC. I'm tired of it, dude. Are you tired of it or what?
I mean, I'll cover the stuff. Usually my rule is like covering things kind of one time or whatever, like C2E2 or whatever. I just did one video on it, you know, or a CGC thing. Well, that one was a little different, the Reholder one, because there kept being new things. But I'll talk about it when stuff happens and it's important to talk about because I think that it's like the information that people are curious to hear about. But is the question, am I done with CGC comics, period, or in slabs, or is it like just talking about CGC stuff?
Well, dude, part of me thinks that when Mickey lays his head in bed at night, he just says a little prayer like, oh, please let CGC fuck up again so I can, have another video. Because, bro,
no,
you look at your views on them CGC things compared to everything else, you'd be crazy. You're crazy to think that part of you is not like, let's freaking go.
Well, there's definitely like, yeah, I definitely laugh about it with other content people that I talk about, like, oh, here we go again. Like,
yep.
This one's going to be one that everyone can't wait to watch, but generally speaking, I don't want to make like my entire channel just anti-CGC.
Why not?
Because I don't actually think that they have a lot of problems. And I think that there are a lot of issues with grading for sure. And there's a lot of, stuff that needs to be addressed, but they also provide a service that I also think is beneficial. So I don't think, and I'm not like, I know I have a bunch of slabs behind me, but like what I have behind me is like what I have. And then most of my other comic books is raw and stuff. So I'm not like a big slabber necessarily, but to me, it's like, if they screw up, I think they should be called out.
Right.
And if they do good, then I think that they should be praised. And I think that there's, a middle ground in somewhere in there that yes, they provide a good service, but then they also like need to get, called out when they mess up.
And the thing is you and I are not beholden to them. We are not in their pocket. We are not, okay, I'm going to bring up his name again. Comic Tom. Comic Tom, if he comes on here, will not talk about this. Okay. And do you know how shady shit that is? Because there's a difference between me not wanting to do the banana thing because I just don't feel like it.
Yeah.
And there's a difference between you covering it because, it's like it needs to be covered because it needs to be addressed. CGC needs to be aware of these problems. But then it's another thing to intentionally not want to talk about this. And, when I see stuff like this, when I see stuff like that, I want to start roasting people, bro. I just want to start talking shit because they're in cahoots, bro.
So I agree with you. I do think when the Reholder thing was going on, like there were times for sure that I saw like certain sales platforms or dealers, big dealers that like didn't want to talk about it. And then as
Yes.
soon as they said like, hey guys, we found the books and blah, 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 I was like, oh, we're going to share the good news. And it was like, okay, like it was very clear that they don't want to bite the hand that feeds.
Yep.
But I also feel this, and tell me what you think about this.
Okay.
Sometimes I feel like the show is the show for certain people and their lane is their lane. My example is this. I feel like everybody wants like someone like a Comic Tom to be like, why aren't you talking about Bengate?
Yes.
But at the same time, it's like, if you're watching a barbecue cooking show and you're thinking to yourself, why doesn't the chef talk about, the morality of the meat industry? It's kind of like, it's a barbecue cooking show. Like,
well said.
that's just not what the show and the content is.
Yeah.
So I understand why he wouldn't say necessarily I'm going to make a video, my thoughts on CGC. That's kind of just like not what he does.
Right.
Now, but if he gets in a situation where it's on a live stream, we got to talk about it and stuff, like, yeah, are his hands going to be cuffed? Like, can he not actually say anything like in that forum? Yeah, that kind of sucks because I feel like it'd be nice for people to hear what people actually think.
Before we went live, I said, is there anything that you don't want to talk about? And you know what he said? He said there is not a single thing that is off limits. And dude, I gained so much respect for you at that very instant because you are willing to talk about the tricky things. You're not beholden to anything. You're willing to cover anything. And I have a lot of respect for that because, at the end of the day, this is not your lifeline. This is not you're not feeding your family with YouTube Skrilla. Like you're doing this as an outlet, as a form of creation, as a way to connect with other nerds, to talk about something you love. There's a difference between doing that and what some of these other dudes are doing. They're trying to make this a business. And it's like, okay, do I fault them for that? No, but at the same time, I don't trust them. I would trust you over them any day. It's the same thing as Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, which, to be honest with you, you're kind of like the news of comic book YouTube in a way, versus like an underground news outlet where they're boots on the ground. They're giving you no spin. That's what people want. And it's like, it's transferring over into the comic book YouTube community where they're wanting to watch you over the guys that are bought and sold, dude.
Yeah. Well, I think that's even beyond comic books. I think that's kind of where a lot of media is at this point. People just kind of want to hear from like genuine people and authentic stuff.
Yes.
And yeah, again, like I think I understand where you're coming from, and I understand the sentiment within the community that kind of like, is a little allergic to some of the YouTubers or the content that it's like won't talk bad about CGC or is a little like plastic and stuff. And I get it, but like I think I've just hit that point where it's like kind of what you already said. Like I just don't fault anyone whose like business it is, and I just the standards I have for myself are not necessarily the standards I assume other people have to have because I can't control like what they're going to do. So I don't know. I don't worry about, that and what they're doing and all that. But yeah, I think it's interesting that people come to me for that. And I just try to tell it like it is. And yeah, I don't want to be like a full-time comic book dealer or like have situations where I am beholden to those things. That being said, like, I mean, I've met a lot of the people in the industries, and I've been face to face with all these people and I've shaken their hands and all that stuff. And yeah, there were times where in talking about the reholder situation, like I felt some side eyes at like a comic. There are times like that, but can't worry about that.
Do you feel like you're an enemy? Do you feel like you're an enemy in the community?
No, I don't think I'm an enemy. I think I'm a good person, so I try to just be that.
I have definitely gone to one con specifically after I made a video where I'm like, yeah, I think I'm like blackballed here, and I'm like, I'm not going to do this. Um,
Do you think, would you change? I mean, like, is that okay with you? Are you like going to double down on that, or because I'm interested in hearing, we've been talking a lot about me, but I'm interested to hear you, where you want to go with things and stuff. Because yeah, I think that, you've made some comments, or you've made some videos, and it's kind of ruffled some feathers in ways. But then, like, if you want to go to heroescon, you don't want it to be like a bad experience. And I'm not to say that, like, oh, you need to censor yourself and not say what you actually think. But
Right.
would you use different tact and maybe not be so specific to like specific people?
Well, so it's interesting you brought up the heroescon thing, because before we did the roast video, the guy that ratted me out basically insinuated that he was going to meet up with other sticker people. And when I go to heroescon, which I don't usually reveal what and where I'm going to do, because it kind of creeps me out a little bit, more so than the fact that there's 113 people watching this as we're talking, which is creepy in itself. But just like going to somewhere physically, and then me telling this guy, and then him basically insinuating that he was going to kill me with positivity and hurt me with genuine emotions. And I was like, first off, you're a psycho. Second, I legitimately had pause to go to that convention, because it was the first time I ever went to a convention with my father. I don't know what your relationship with your parents are, if they're living. Do you have?
Yeah, they're good. I love my mom and dad. Yeah.
Okay.
Shout out to them.
So my dad and I have a connection with comics. I found his old books. That's how I got into this. And just even the slight pause to not go to that convention because of some asshole potentially meeting up or, trying to pull something, it really pissed me off to the point where I was like, I don't even want to go to this. And that kind of set me down the path of vengeance in a way, where I was like, I'm going to troll this guy. I'm going to mess with this guy in the roast, even though he didn't deserve to be in the roast, because he hurt me. He hurt me in a way that he made me afraid to do something or go somewhere with my father. And that's another line. So like when I call you Snickle Fritz, or I make fun of your whiteboard stupid videos, that's one thing. Okay. That's one thing. But to say that he's going to meet me at heroescon and see me and hurt me with positivity, no, I'm not doing that. And obviously you can tell I'm a passionate person. I wear my emotions on my sleeve, for good or bad. And it was just, it was hurtful. And I wanted to hurt him back. And the only way I knew how to do that was to make fun of him with my stupid YouTube channel. Long story short, going to conventions is not, I don't enjoy it as much as I used to, because I don't trust the dealers. I don't trust, there's no point in me going. Like, I go to these things, and if I don't get a free press pass, I'm in for 40, 50, 60 bucks or whatever to go. And then I'm going to go in here and I'm going to overpay for some shit. It's just like, I really don't want to do it. And it's like, some of my best videos are going to Comic Cons and, doing the first person perspective, because people want to see that. I want to see that. That's the videos I like to watch. But is it worth it to go and not have so good a time and feel that way? I don't know. I don't want to do it.
Yeah, I understand that. I mean, yeah, it's tough, because I think from what I'm hearing with you is, I think a lot of people feel a certain way, I think, about your channel with like some of the videos that you've done, and they've kind of made up their opinion about you in a lot of ways. And you kind of have to wear that. It's the same for me. Some people have made their opinion about me. Swag, all he cares about is spec. All he cares about is selling comic books and making money. He doesn't read the stories. That's a lot of people's opinion of me. So yeah, it's a shame that you might have to live that, as far as like, okay, going to the con, there might be some of those people that look at you that way. At the end of the day, I think it's like, when you make the types of content you do, I think that it is what it is. It's gonna invite some of those like very passionate, opinions and feelings about you.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I think that most people in this hobby are good. Like, most of the people that I've met are interesting, come from all different walks of life, like great people to hang out with. And I think the cons is like some of the best experiences. And even if you don't go to buy, like I think going and just interacting with people, I know it's like sounds like a little cheesy to be like, oh, like the community. I know that like in the cynical world of YouTube that we live in, like we kind of like eye roll with community, but it really is important. Like it's really a good thing. And hopefully you don't let that affect, your going to cons in the future. Just go, just have fun, make your content. Don't buy anything if you think it's too expensive.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm just gonna go and just make the content, that is one thing. But it's just, I really don't like collecting comics anymore. I like reading. I like, I just bought another omnibus. I've actually read this before, but I'm gonna read it again. Uncanny X-Force by Rick Remender. Like the most enjoyment I get out of comic books are sitting down here, reading them, and then making content videos. Like doing the single issue shit, submitting to CGC, trying to find these prices. I just don't want to do this shit anymore. And I've been very open about that on videos before, but it's just like, it's a stressful thing. Like that wall you have behind you, like that's stress. Like that is, you are a steward of some serious shit back there. And, it comes with a price. Like it, not only financially, but it's like, now that you have this thing, you're very aware of how much is my tail, how much is my Tails 39 worth now? Because did I just lose my ass? Was this a terrible investment? Did I buy it at the wrong time? I love this book. It's great. But like every time I look at it, do I see I've lost $10,000? Like that's a sickening feeling to me.
Yeah, no, it is really, I mean, here's the truth is like, I make the jokes flippantly, comics might go to zero one day. That's the truth, like it doesn't matter what it is. Maybe one day people don't want to own Action Comics 1 anymore. And it just is worthless. Like that's a possibility. So you have to kind of come into it with the mindset of like, yeah, if I buy this, maybe it'll go up, but I'm just getting joy out of it for now. And so, yeah, I understand, like, and it can be stressful, especially if like people like I have some money that in comic books that I'm like, yeah, it's definitely money. But there's people who have like, 7 figures in collections and stuff.
Yeah, they're real
that
dumb.
To me, is like Jesus, like that's a whole nother level.
It's irresponsible.
Yeah, but hey, I mean, if they can do it, hopefully they're being, financially responsible when they buy stuff like that.
Roger says Stinky Goose is bad at comic shopping. That's why his CGC slab wall was horrible and he took it down. So
okay.
Do you?
I think that not to put words in your mouth. I mean, I think you just said that. No, you just don't like.
So this is a perfect example of why I'm a troll, because Roger is a faceless, nameless avatar who is in this chat right now. He is a person that does not have a camera. He does not have a microphone. He does not make YouTube content, but he is a troll. What I'm doing, just like, and our man Journo's Comics is in here, just, preaching the gospel or whatever the fuck he's talking about. But my thing is I put my face to what I'm saying. Like I put my voice and my face to what I'm saying. Like if I'm going to talk shit, I have to reap what I sow, just as you've been saying. These commenters, like so many of these people, and I attract many of them. So, I mean, I reap what I sow again. It's like these people are coming to troll. And dude, I am like a actual troll on camera. Like this is like real shit. Like they're hiding keyboard warriors. And it's like, Roger has no idea what he's fucking talking about. My slab wall's right fucking there. I am bad at buying comic books. I've spent thousands on shit that is now worth half, if not less than half. So yeah, I've got some hurt feelings about it. it's fucking infuriating, dude. Like playing this game of when to buy, because dude, I love Animal Man. Love Animal Man, want to have a great copy of Animal Man, want to get a nice graded copy, wanted to have a nice clean copy so that I can keep. But to sit here and say, I look at it and I'm like, well, fuck, did I overpay for it? Possibly. That it irks me a little bit. I love the thing, but it's like, it's people say, oh, collect what you love. Well, I love fucking Animal Man, but I don't love overpaying for fucking Animal Man.
Yeah, I agree with that, which is why. So it's funny because it's like I'll talk a lot about the values and things like that, and people will be like, "Oh, you just are trying to do it for just to get rich." And my point is like I don't want people to have those feelings when they buy something and it loses money on it. Which is why I spend so much time talking about numbers, because like the goal is like if we can make sense of these values here, maybe people out there who are watching can make a savvy purchase. That said, though, why don't you just sell it? If it bothers you to look at it, just sell it.
That was my Hulk 181 situation. Let me read Synthetic Panels, $10 super chat. Great interview. Nice to see Swagglehaus. Synthetic Panels is an AI comic book channel. He has made some very interesting videos. He specifically talked about the abuse of the copyright strike and the system that the rat used. This guy he actually informed me of a website called Social Blade, where I can like literally look up any YouTube channel. Are you aware of this?
I know what it is, but I don't look at it.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't spend too much time worrying about the analytics stuff, because I think you just go crazy if you just that's all you look at.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Which is, by the way, I have a question for you in reference to Roger and stuff. Why do you even read his comment? Like just ignore it.
So several months ago, I've noticed this with you too. I look back on some of your early videos. Every single comment, you put a heart and you replied to it. And I don't know when you stopped. You possibly may have stopped right when I did, or a little bit earlier, hopefully. I really have stopped replying to the comments on YouTube at all. Like if you message me a DM on Instagram, I'll talk to you. But the YouTube comments they're fucking out of hand. Like the YouTube viewers, like, bro, it is a wild, wild west. And like, I mean, dude, I'll get into chats, and I know, Comic Journey, dude, I'll go in there and I'm just going ham. Like I'm licking fingers, like, I'm going on.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
But it feels good, dude.
It's like no, it doesn't. I feel like it feels good maybe at the time when you get the zinger, but then an hour later, does it feel good?
Yeah. It still felt good. Like it felt, yeah, it felt really good.
Well, it's like arguing about politics on Facebook.
Yeah.
It's just like,
oh, dude,
I just feel like all this stuff. Like, here's the thing. Yeah, you're right. Like there was a moment when I just stopped sort of replying to comments because there's ones in there that's sting and stuff, and you're like, I don't it doesn't feel good to like look at it. That said, I'll throw like I'll feel the comments, like I'll glance just to get a sense of like, okay, do people agree or they don't like this, or just I want to get the temperature check from the audience or whatever. But yeah, don't engage with the troll stuff. Just like ignore it.
Yeah, in some of my bigger videos, like the comments, there were so many comments that I'm like, dude, I stopped reading them because I'm like, there's just so much going on here. Like I can't respond to all these people. I'm super appreciative that they're commenting and they're saying their piece. But it eventually just becomes like a forum where it's like, okay, I'm just going to just step away. But there's some comments, especially ones that get kind of personal. Man, like I really do not like blocking people. I don't like censorship, obviously, but there's some dudes, dude, I'm like, yeah, I can't have this on here.
Yeah. I think that's the right approach. And I'm not a proponent of censorship either, but I think that everyone has the right to self-censorship. And what I mean by that is, yeah, if someone's on your channel and they're just out of line, hide them from channel. Or
Yeah.
like if you're on Twitter or an Instagram or whatever, you don't like somebody's things, posts, unfollow them. Like you have the right to do.
Yeah. It's one of those things, like the worst part about the keyboard warriors is like, you know, dude, I want to engage face to face. Like, so you and I, obviously, we've never spoken before. I have talked shit. I've made videos. You agreed to come on here. We're talking. You know, I've taken a few little jabs at you. You've taken a few little jabs at me. You know, there is no. You're like a reasonable person. Like, you know, this is amicable. But like some of these dudes, like they can barely spell one, and I mean, like they're not going to do what we're doing. They don't have the courage. They don't have the ability to speak like we are doing, like to formulate thoughts, coherent thoughts. Like it's, and I mean, and I don't know if you go off scripts or whatever, but like and I think some of your videos, you're just kind of riffing or just going off the cuff, and other ones are more prepared. Would you say that's correct?
I don't write anything, but sometimes I'll like outline in my head.
Right. See, that's what I'm doing just like all the time, which is why I'm slowly going insane, where, you know, I'm thinking of video ideas and then I'm writing them. I'm writing the script in my head. And that's what I did for this too, where I was like, there's bullet points I want to hit with you. And it's like, I don't want to miss anything because these are things that were important to me to talk to you about, which I think we got a lot of them. But it's like, when you came on, I didn't want this to be an interview. I wanted this to be a conversation, which I think it has, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, because like an interview, it just feels like, oh God, I'm just sick of these interviews. Like, you know, what's your origin story? What's your, you know, I'm just like, dude, I'm tired of that kind of content. I want this. And I feel like we're definitely getting that here. Yeah, the troll thing is just, you're a better man than me. You don't engage. You play it cool. You play it politically. Respect. Problem is you are very even keel, and you know, I think a lot of people want to see the highs and the lows. Like a guy like me is, what am I going to say? Like, what is he going to do next? I think that's why I have the audience. You have this audience of like, every time somebody goes to see a Swagglehaus video, it's like, it's kind of like I know what I'm getting. Would you say that?
Maybe, I guess. I don't know. I think that at the end of the day, I'm just kind of how I am. And I genuinely just don't, it's not that I want to like self-censor or not say what is on my mind. I just don't feel that it's, you know, worth it to me to kind of like engage in sort of like the troll content and all that stuff. Like it just doesn't, it doesn't make me feel good at the end of the day. Like if it was something that like I actually just enjoyed, like if you're saying to me that you actually just enjoy like kind of, you know, ribbing people and stuff in the comments,
I love
and
it.
like, and you can sleep at night and at the end, and it just feels you're okay with that. I mean, that's you. Like I can't do that because I actually do feel icky after a while. So it's not something that helps me in my life, especially outside of YouTube. Like I don't want anything like in YouTube to affect like my work outside of YouTube too.
Right.
It's not, it's like I'm busy out there. So, but yeah, I think I honestly, you can't control, this is the life thing. You can't control what people think. Like you can't control like what people are going to say. And frankly, you're not going to change their mind. Like no matter how bad you make them feel or how tough you give it to them, or the zingerest of zingers, you know, that makes them feel so bad that they just have to like, I don't know, like uninstall their entire, you know, desktop. Like
uninstall.
Yeah, uninstall, you know, the game.
That's like
Which
one of the classic talk shit in a video game.
That's
like,
just like
bro,
some video game inside baseball right there. But like, yeah, it's just, there's nothing you can do that's going to change their mind. So it's no point in engaging. That's not to say that you don't like have conversation or you don't like express you know, your opinions and stuff, which is what I try to do. But no, anyways, I digress.
You got quiet really. I didn't hear that last thing you said.
Oh, can you hear me? Test.
Yeah, you're good now.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I got distracted there. Yes, swag's right, but honestly comes down to personalities. Yeah, I think we're playing a game of personalities. If you're in it, like, so like when I'm thinking of how Swagglehaus is with his family, I'm thinking how he is at work. I'm thinking how he is with his, friends. Like, with me, I can't act like this at my job. Like, I mean, I'm a medical professional. Like, I can't, I have to be something that I really am not every single fucking day. And this is really my outlet to be something else, anything, like, because this is who I really am. Like how I'm talking to you right now, how I'm talking to the chat, how I make my videos. This is me. And when I put on like professional me, it's like I lose a part of myself. We talked about this in the beginning, where it's like, if I could hang it up tomorrow and be PewDiePie, bro, I'm PewDiePie, like no question. And it just sucks that we wear these different, and I respect I respect that you are even keeled with everybody, because like when I did my other live for the first time with Jim and MJ, it was a very different interaction than what I'm having with you. This feels very much like a controlled professional conversation with an intellectual. That was more of like the boys sitting around ribbing, having beers. And I think there's a place for both of that. It's just like, is there a cut up swag that we're not seeing? Is this you all the time?
No, I think that I'm probably being a little more formal because we just sort of met, right?
Right.
But like, one, I said earlier in the stream that like, yeah, like people have called me formal in general. Like there's been people in my life that's like, you're very formal, it's just kind of how I am. But yeah, of course there's times when I'm like a little more relaxed or chummy and stuff. Like I've been like that on other streams, but
right.
But I mean, this is also just kind of me. Like I'm an open book. Like it's not, I don't know. Like I'm not trying to not be casual.
Right. Yeah, it's like a weird thing, because when I watch some of my old videos and I talk about things, like I can see me saying things in a way that I thought people wanted to hear them, or I thought people how they should be. Like and once I stopped doing that, like I felt so much better. I felt this like release, like and people started they responded better to me because I was being more genuine, more authentic, being, kind of the kooky guy I am. And it felt so much better. And that's why I'm super thankful for this.
You know the Jim Carrey quote? You heard that one? I'll probably butcher it, but he was like, he said something along the lines of, when you're in the public, like you either have to be yourself and be willing to be hated and judged for who you truly are, or you have to kill who you really truly are and be,
Ooh.
What the people want. And the point that he was trying to make with that was just like, you have to, if you're going to be out there, like you have to just be authentic and you have to be willing to be judged and hated and stuff. But it's the most freeing version of the way to live their life. That's something that always stuck with me. It was like, oh, that's a pearl, but like, yeah, I think, it's hard. It's hard to do YouTube and like to put yourself out there and to work through your thoughts as people are watching it in a public forum. And so I've definitely said stuff that like, I think back now and I'm like, yeah, I disagree actually with how I saw that. Or like, I regret saying that, or if not regret saying that, regret saying it that way and not putting a finer point on what I was actually trying to get. home and stuff. So it's all, it's a process, it's a process, and it's definitely one that, like, I always just try to continue to learn and try to do the best I can. But yeah, I definitely mess up and people get upset about it as well.
Yeah, my quote, my pearl of wisdom is Shakespeare. We are all actors, and the whole world is a stage. Like, when I come home, I'm husband, father. I play that role. Like when I look at my little girl, like I'm always trying to smile. I mean, I'm not roasting my 2-year-old daughter. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not like, hey, you crapped your diaper. It stinks.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not that guy. I'm not, I'm trying to be good dad. I'm trying to be good husband. It's like when
So
I
then,
do
but is YouTube you really you?
yes.
So then,
no, it's exaggerated. It's exaggerated.
Yeah.
Like it's basically me turned up a little bit because the lights are on, the cameras are rolling. I am theatrical in a sense that I never want to be boring. I never want to be the guy. And like there were some comments earlier that was like, this shit's boring. This shit, bro. Like, damn, I never want to be that. Like, if you're watching a Sticky Goose video and you're bored, I have failed. If you're watching a Sticky Goose video and you didn't at least chuckle a little, I failed. And I truly feel like that because, I don't want to be, especially in my entertainment career, whatever this is, fucking boring. Like, leave the boring for, the 9 to 5 every damn day. Like that, leave that for that. I can't do that shit here. Cause if I'm doing that shit here, it's over, dude. I'm dying. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, it's interesting that like, so that being entertaining for sure is super important. It's something that, like, I always want to make sure I'm doing too. But it's interesting that that's like your first principle, right? Where it's like, oh, entertainment, not being boring, that whole thing. Yeah, that's a good point with Joint Can here. Boring is kind of subjective though, right? Because it's like, again, people want different things out of it.
Yeah, it's because I know what you're getting at with that because as far as like when you talk about stuff in your videos, like the CGC stuff, you want to come correct. You don't want to look back and be like, damn, I messed up. And when the CGC scandal stuff came out and that stuff broke and your boy Automatic started coming out with that, I thought that this was a ruse or like I mean I didn't know if it was real. So my gut reaction was to come out and say, hey, we don't know if this is real. This is some guys just looking at a fucking photo online. This could be anything. That was my gut reaction. Looking back, I was totally wrong and I retracted that. But man, with your stuff, like you're coming correct on things. And, it really seems to me like you definitely, never want to be on the wrong side.
Well, I've definitely been wrong. That's for sure in my life. But I think it's like, it's that, it's hard. We weren't talking about or you mentioned it earlier, like trying to get the video out when the CGC thing happened and being fast about it. Yes, I think being on top of it is something that, can help for sure to get the story out there, and because people are most interested at that moment in time.
It's the zeitgeist.
Yeah, the zeitgeist and stuff. But for sure, like, I don't always get this right, but I try to really think through everything before I start yapping. But I've definitely gotten things wrong. And to that point, like I get so, it bothers me actually when I see a comment that's like, their name is pronounced this, by the way. That bothers me. Like those types of things where it's like I get something wrong like that. And that's kind of a stupid example. There's definitely been much worse things I've gotten wrong. But yeah, it's important. It's important because people are watching.
Well, the news thing, like, which I very much think you are that, whether you like it or not.
Which is really weird. Yeah, that's so weird because it's like, I'm not dude, I didn't go to journalism school. I'm not a journalist. Like,
well, just your presentation, the topics you cover, that is your thing. And, Fox News, CNN, it's not about being right. it's about being first in so many of their things, and they don't come correct. And you know, I have dabbled. Dude, my channel is like a fucking shotgun. Like, I'm roasting people. I'm trying to do the news. I'm trying to do a little bit of everything. You know, I just make a video that seems entertaining, something people would want to watch, my spin on it, and that's just what I'm going to keep doing. But yeah, I mean, I try to be correct about things, but if you're not there and if you're not the person that it happened to, you know, it's the equivalent of like when the Rat tried to cancel me. I just think about the dissemination of information from that, because I know what happened. I know that it was one person that sent the copyright strike. I know who it was. I know when he sent it. See, I knew like the news, that news happening to me.
Yeah.
And then I listened to other people and I'm like, holy shit, this is how everything gets messed up. This is how the wires get crossed. And like, you know, you look at the CGC stuff and it's like, what actually happened? What is the real story? And it's crazy to think, because we almost have some sort of bastardization of the truth, but we still kind of have the truth, I guess, for the most part.
Yeah. Well, so yeah, think of how that happens on a granular scale in comic collecting YouTube, and then how that would translate to actual news stories that happen out in the world. It's crazy. Yeah.
Are you leaving California anytime soon?
It's hard. I'm working film and entertainment, you know. It's but I've thought about it. I always have fantasies about
going to Texas.
Yeah, moving to Texas. living that Texas life.
It seems like all Californians go to Texas, right?
Yeah, Texas, Florida, you know, just the mass exodus.
Yeah, I watched your hike video and I was like looking at the trails and I'm like, dude looks like he's out there in the freaking desert. And I'm like, I don't know. You paying Gavin Newsom taxes, and dude, is he taking everything you got, man?
Well, we can't wait here in California to export Gavin Newsom out to the rest of the country,
rest of the world.
Yeah, we can't wait for that, guys. Just you get ready for that Newsom.
Yeah, that Newsom. Yeah, like California, man. We went to San Diego, what was it, a couple years ago. Beautiful, but dude, I'm a Southern boy. I'm from West by God, Virginia. So like, I don't know.
Virginia.
Yeah. You ever been to West Virginia?
I actually haven't. I'd love to go, but yeah, I there, and a lot of the Carolinas and stuff. Like I haven't been out to that part of the country yet. Did you grow up there?
Born and raised, man.
Nice.
You never
leave.
Gonna
be there forever?
Possibly. Probably die here. Probably get buried there next to grandma and grandpa up on that hill up there, by God.
What's comic books like in your area?
Yeah. Well, we have one shop that is a dump. I have my video about 5 types of comic book shops. Well, we have a dump, but the problem is the dump doesn't really have that much good stuff. And I think he's like out of business. So like, you know, I see a lot of other channels like Lunch Money Comics, Comics Den. You know, we have a lot of crossover with them. Like when I see your video, like your viewers watch those channels as well as mine. Like there's a lot of crossover, and I'm looking at those guys and I'm like, I can never do what they do because I can't just go on a hunt. Like, I mean, there's nothing. I have no options.
They seem to like they travel the country, right? Like that's kind of their whole thing. And
well, Lunch Money
full time.
He like, I mean, he just like stumbles in a barn and like finds like a Hulk 181 seemingly.
Well, you know, shout out to Lunch. He's actually from the Northeast, and comics in the state of New York and that area, like they're everywhere because like that's where it all started.
Right. And I mean, like Very Gary and the Workaholics, what the fuck is it? Pressable Defects. You know, those guys, like, because I used to watch their videos and like they're going on these hunts and I'm like, I mean, I'll never have that. So like I'm really relegated to content that is very much of your ilk where I'm sitting here looking at this camera, talking about something. I mean, I wish every one of my videos was a, first person hunting, going out there finding buried treasure. It just, I don't have that. Like,
Yeah. Oh,
and
those videos. Yeah, those videos do great, but I mean, it's a lot. That's a lot of work to do if that's not what you do.
right. And I mean, I've definitely done many of them. But like the Comics Den people, I mean, it's very unlikely that they have children. Like, I mean, I have like a real job. It's like I can't do that. And
Right.
I want to do that. And talking about like finding your lane and doing what you're doing and why I do the drama shit and stuff. It's because, bro, I can't do anything else. Like I have to use the personality I have, the way I do things. This is all I got.
Yeah. No, I understand that for sure because it's a lot of times for me too. It's like what I have to talk about is what I have to talk about. And there was a while where I couldn't even do face like camera on stuff. So it was like it literally has to be, I don't know, something on an internet browser that I can show and talk about. But you should do more. I mean, you mentioned that you're reading a lot. Like, why don't you
Yeah.
do some of the reading content? Because I know, like, probably
Nobody
it would
cares.
be like a thing that you would have to like start to build. But like,
Mhm.
there's definitely big YouTube channels that do the story stuff.
Yeah, but like, bro, near mint condition does it better. Gem mint does it better. Like,
But you just have to do your version of it.
right. But I'm like, part of me doesn't want that. Like, this is for me. Like, you know
Yeah,
what
I
I
get that.
mean?
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah, I get that.
I'm not going to let Roger fuck up my enjoyment completely. You see what I'm saying? Because like Roger, I'll give Roger what he wants. He wants fucking smut and he wants drama and he wants that shit. I'm giving Roger what he wants. But when it comes to like me enjoying this hobby and enjoying my comics and enjoying what this is, bro, I'm not letting anybody fuck that up.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they can try to cancel me and they can try to censor me and do whatever, but I'm not, no.
Yeah. No, I actually, that's a good, I relate to that. I totally get where you're coming from in that because there are books that I just collect that no one would care about if I talked about them, but I just do it and that's for me. And when I read, it's just that's for me, And so, I'll get the people that just be like, "Swag, you never talk about stories," and it's like I'm just over here reading. Like it's just, we can do some stuff not on YouTube.
Yeah. It's, I get kind of heated about stuff because it just, I don't know. Like, I mean, dude, I've been doing this YouTube shit for almost 4.5 years now. Like, I mean, this has been a huge part of my life. It's been a lot of passion in it. I've had a lot of highs, a lot of lows. I mean, as of you, I mean, you've put a lot of work and effort into this.
Yeah.
And,
So what's the big idea then for you? Like what's next? Like where do you want to take it?
I, when I talked to Jim Min, it was like, I don't have a video that's a weekly thing. Basically, I think what happens now with me is I do what I'm doing right now, where I talk to the people that I've talked shit about and I meet them face to face. I confront the shit that I have talked about and I determine whether or not are we friends? Are we still are we still beefing? Is this, because I'm going to tell you, like, after talking to Comic Tom on the phone, I don't know. Like, I don't know, dude. With Jim Mint, like, I connected with him almost immediately. Like, it was easy. MJ Comics, same thing. And several other lives that I've gone on, Immaculate Comics, Comic Doctor, Open by Chance, I kind of, once I do a live with somebody, like you feel connected almost, like, because I know you
Yeah,
do
for sure.
lives a lot with the Automatic Comics guy, Como. Um, those are kind of your boys.
Yeah, we've become like, even though, well, I've never met Ryan Automatic in person, but yeah, we've become like online friends,
Right.
So we talk all the time.
Yeah.
But
It's
it's
just,
good. It's good to do that. Like, I think I
well,
think it's important to have those types of conversations and
well,
connect with people.
I connect with content creators more so than anybody else in the comic book community, because like I talk to comic book collectors, and yeah, I can, but you and I are doing something very different. Like, we're playing this whole other game while being in the comic book hobby. So I kind of relate to you and other creators more so than anybody else. So it's easier for me to talk to you guys.
Yeah.
And I just think that the natural progression of my channel is to make these connections, talk to people, because I started this interview or this conversation out with, how do you think people perceive you? And I had a perception of you before I ever talked to you, because I watched your videos. And, as I'm talking to you, I'm trying to get a better gauge of who you are. Some of the people that I'm hoping to get on here, I might not connect with them, and it's going to be awkward. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. But I
I mean,
mean, I think it's still good to have the conversations, whatever at the end of the day, it's your show. You can have the same people on that you enjoy talking to, or, you just don't, and you just cultivate that. But yeah, there's a lot of interesting personalities in this space. That's for sure.
yeah. So we'll wrap it up, put a bow on it. Are we beefing? Like, are we
I've
good?
never I think we're good, man.
Okay.
I don't think I ever really felt a beef with you. I definitely will say, I think I've seen some of the videos, and there are ones that I think lacked a little bit intact that I personally wouldn't do. But hey, that's you. Um, and I think that there's been times when you've probably been a little rude or mean to certain people, but that's just my opinion. That's
Right.
just my, and then, and yeah, and I've felt like, hey, like, what did I do? When you've taken certain shots at me and stuff. But at the end of the day, like, we're just talking for the first time. I don't
Right.
have any like hate towards you or anything like that. Like, I understand like what you're doing. I mean, you found your voice. You're being entertaining. You're being, a little incendiary when it's appropriate to be that. A little bit salacious, but in a way that's what YouTube can be, or that's what YouTube is. So, I think, yeah, I appreciate you reaching out, and having this conversation with me, and shout out to everyone in the chat for hanging out. And hopefully we weren't boring. Hopefully we were entertaining, because,
I
appreciate you,
appreciate
Sticky, inviting me. And, I don't want to be boring on your channel. That's for sure.
I appreciate you unapologetically being you. Like, you're not, you didn't come on my channel and change it up. You didn't, you weren't like, you didn't flip a script. You stuck to your guns. You defended your positions. You weren't flip flopping because of pressures or whatever influence. It was, you stuck to who you are, what you wanted to do. And I have a lot of respect for that. Um, you are even keeled. And I think you are probably the best source of information uh, as far as getting it as close to what actually happened that we have. I think you are that
That's
guy.
terrifying to hear that.
Well, I think you are that guy. And I don't even think it's close, to be honest. So kudos.
Well, shout out to you, and, hats off to you for having me on, and being honest with me and transparent. And, yeah, I'm sure that we'll, definitely talk more in the future. I'm sure there'll be lots more Sticky Goose, content out there that'll be interesting to watch. And, we'll have to do it again for sure.
Okay, buddy. Thank you to everybody that came through. Thank you to the super chats. You guys were really active in the chat. I really appreciate it. I'm not great at that. Hopefully we'll get better. Appreciate you guys. Well, and we have one more super chat.
Damn, look at you, dude. You got the super chats, man. This was good.
Oh, we got Steve. Bat Signal Comics for Baby Goose. Get her a new goose since Sticky stole hers. His name is Steve, so I always got to do the "Get out of my house, Steve."
Wait, do you have a goose?
We don't have a goose. Well, my daughter, I call her the goose.
Got it.
So yeah. Journo says Sticky is all talk until he comes to the cookout. Any last questions that we need to hit here? I don't know. I'm not very good at answering questions as they come down.
You know, that's talk about content creator woes inside baseball. Yeah, it's actually a little trickier to do lives than you would think. You know, it takes
it's
some
the hardest
time
thing to do.
Yeah, it takes a little time to kind of like, oh, I got to click and then, you know, manage all the things.
Yeah, and that's when you did that with like bringing random people in here, I'm like, dude, you're wild, bro. Like,
oh man, that is rolling the dice a little bit.
Well, it just, there was so much going on and you handled it. Oh my God. Razor Comics.
This fucking guy, right? This fucking guy right here.
Have you met Razor Comics yet?
What it do, comic book gurus? Goddamn, are you guys still awake? Is anybody still watching this shit? Holy. I can't believe you guys are still. I'll be honest with you. I fell asleep about 20. Wait, hang on. Did Swaggle fix his mic? Because all I heard was, hey, Swaggle, how's Banana Gate? Yeah, it's really good. Oh, yeah, it's really. Yeah, Swaggle, the mic is about the size of your head, bro. Like, how come we can't hear? We should be able to. I don't even have a mic on. I'm sure everybody's hearing me screaming right now. Like, that mic is literally the size of your head, homie. Like, we should be able to hear you like loud and clear. What the hell is going on over there? Can you turn it up? Holy!
No, I don't know, man. I don't know what happened. I saw a couple of people in the chat that said my mic stuck out, but I don't know. I mean, I didn't touch it.
Bro, Razor Comics is the new drama king of comic book YouTube.
You missed.
Yeah, well, somebody's got to do it because
it got really interesting at 26 minutes, right when you fell asleep. That was the best stuff.
Man, MJ texted me. He's like, "Hey, I didn't even know the show was still going on. I started watching Kite Man." I was like, well, you know, I was like, "What the hell?"
Long rip and went to sleep, man.
I watched. I'll be honest with you guys. I'll be real, and you'll hear this on Razor's rants later this week. But I watched Sticky for entertainment. I don't know about you guys, but I watched to have a good time and laugh. Like, I don't come home from this shit to smoke a bowl to watch this. I'll be honest with you. If this is what you guys are talking about, I have no interest.
Okay. Well, I mean, we're hashing it out, bro. You know what I mean? Like, we had beef and we're settling it. We squashed it. We're good now.
Squashed.
No, I get it. I get squashing the beef is good, but goddamn, like, there was there's nothing that was fun, informative. Like, I didn't learn anything. I didn't laugh. So I'm not sure exactly what we're trying to accomplish here today. We're not entertaining. We're not informing. So what the fuck are we doing today? We're just hanging out, I guess.
Yes, on Sticky's channel.
Oh my God. Dude, this is crazy.
I'm never coming back now.
This is
ratings.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Remember when I said there was going to be an ambush? There was no ambush. I lied, apparently, because Razor Comics is here.
Swaggle, Swaggle, if you never did this interview, you would have just been fine, bro. Like, there was no reason. Absolutely no reason to come on. We would have been cool. Like, there's no reason for Swaggle to come on. The whole Sticky versus Swaggle, I was like, yeah, man, I can't wait. I was, putting $10, and then 20 minutes in, I was like, this is not Sticky versus, this is epic Snorefest. What are we doing?
I didn't make the title.
Oh man, Razor. Next time I want to talk to you, man. I want to pick your brain. So we might get you on next time. But I'm gonna go
All
ahead
right.
and cut this stream, dude.
Can I just say something before we go? If that's right,
Yeah.
please. Razor, why don't you have that as your fucking backdrop instead of your kitchen?
You like
It's
that?
awesome. Yeah, you're the next Gem Mint, mate. That's what Gems is
No,
like.
he's at the restaurant. Like that ain't his dude. That's ain't his house, bro.
Oh,
Don't worry about where I'm at. I gotta stay low. I gotta,
in your basement.
you know how many threats I've got on Instagram since circumcision's been looking for me? Of course, I can't. I gotta stay low, man. You think I'm gonna give you up my hideout right now? Hell no.
Dude, the
I got a
sticker
hit out
people
on my
gonna-
ass.
They're gonna cut you like
The
a
rat
razor.
king is
dude.
looking for me. I can't have little mouse looking for me.
Oh, the rat's gonna get you, bro. You just wait.
So this is it, huh? Wow, this is I'm glad I came on this show. This was thanks for having me on this one.
All right, dude. Peace out. All right. MJ, I'm gonna say goodbye to the swag and then we're gonna cut it, okay, dude?
Yeah. Thanks for letting me sit backstage and watch.
All right.
You don't want to know what I was doing back there.
Oh,
Well, now
Was
you
it-
can't end the stream like that, but maybe for the next
No.
one.
I was just participating in the chat. You know how it goes.
dude, do you think Razor was under the influence of anything specifically?
You could not. No one could hear what anybody else was saying while Razor was even remotely on screen.
Yeah, I have to buy his mic in the future.
Yeah.
Well, he has a $30 mic from Amazon. His words, not mine.
Got it. The $30 mic's greater than the $100 Yeti. I guess.
Yeah, the Black Yeti. We got these big Black Yetis.
Is that what you guys have got? I've got a Rode. I don't know if that's it.
Rode mic. Yeah, yeah. Dude, MJ Comics has got to be in like Liverpool in like 2 hours,
Yep. About 3 hours.
3 hours.
Wow, where are you going? Or what are
just
you
going
going?
it's our wedding anniversary, 12 years.
Look at that! Congrats.
Thank you very much.
That's big.
I'm being a bit romantic. Swag, I want to have you on my channel for an interview if
sure.
you don't mind.
Yeah, no, it'd be great.
I tried to make people cry.
Yeah. Well,
Not
Well, MJ Comics like will cut a part of it out and then he'll put some sappy shit music on it, and then he'll like get you.
oh yeah,
to
wait. I
confess.
saw your. Sorry. Oh, sorry.
news.
Yeah, it's like really weird. Like he got Jim Mint to say that like I saved his channel, and then he puts this like somber music on. Like it's hilarious, and I think it's like unintentionally funny. Are you trying to be funny, MJ, or not?
No, I'm just trying to be heartwarming, you know.
Man, people in comic world are just too. Everyone's got a black heart. They can't penetrate.
Oh,
Yeah.
Razor Comics, man. He's got a pure heart, dude. Oh my god. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and cut the stream, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Swag, thank you for coming on. Appreciate you. And everybody, I hope you enjoyed it. Take care.
Take care, everybody.